He's the Hall of Famer, John McClain. NFL playoffs are on the verge of opening up with everybody, and a few teams, of course, to get a chance to take a deep breath and eventually go to New Orleans and Super Bowl, was it 59? 50 freaking 9. John McClain joins us, Craig Paul, and also David Smoke. John, who's a dark horse of anybody that's playing this weekend if you had one?
A dark horse would be Denver at Buffalo with a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. Another one would be the Texans. Texans are underdogs at home to the Chargers because of Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh did this year, took over a team that won 5 games, and he's in the playoffs, just like DeMeco Ryans did last year, took over a team that won 3, won 10, went to the playoffs. Everybody's picking the Chargers. They're favored by 2.5. This time last year, everybody was picking the Browns. When they came here in the wild card round, they were favored by 2, and the Texans beat them 45-14.
John, the Titans have the number 1 pick. The Browns have the 2nd pick. The Titans just fired their GM today in Rand Carthon. Is it a mess in Nashville right now?
Absolutely, it's a mess, and it's weird. They have an executive director of football operations, Chad Brinker. He's going to be over the GM. What GM in his right mind is going to come there when he's got a guy over him that gets all the personnel decisions? That position is like a personnel director. And they kept Brian Callahan, didn't want to make him a one and done like they did in New England. And so it's just weird. And there's not a clear quarterback right now who's worthy of the top pick. There will be, I'm sure, after the evaluation process, I'm going to guess Shadur Sanders over Cam Ward. But if they miss that pick, that'll set their franchise back even farther. And last year, they fired the coach everybody wants now, Mike Vrabel. 2 years before, he had home field advantage, got a contract extension, had 2 bad records, and they dumped him. And the longer he's gone, the better he looks.
John, interesting to see a couple of these coaches just cut short so quick. I mean, not worry about contracts and buyouts. I guess I'm so programmed to college football, right? But to see an Antonio Pierce or Jared Mayo get cut so quickly. But Pierce, the big news today out of Las Vegas, the newest opening. Your thoughts on that job? Tom Brady's in management now, and obviously it's Las Vegas, and there's this and that. But what do you think about the Raiders' job and them deciding to pivot away from Antonio Pierce as quickly as they did?
Well, I'm not surprised about that, Craig, because of who they're going against in the division. You got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You got Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. And then you got Sean Payton and Bo Nix. It's clear they need a coach with a lot of experience, not a coordinator. And the guy I would recommend, and when you talk about it, people go, why? I would say Pete Carroll. Pete's won a Super Bowl. He's won a national championship. He should have won a 2nd Super Bowl every year that he was with Seattle. They were always competitive. They were pretty good. Pete's 73, same age as Bill Belichick. Pete has boundless energy. He's in great shape, got all his hair. He's been a head coach at Seattle, the Jets, and the Patriots. And you put Pete Carroll in there with that group, and it looks pretty good. I'd go after Mike Vrabel. 2 of the owners they have, minority owners, are Tom Brady and Richard Seymour, and they played at New England with Mike Vrabel. That seems like a natural. The Patriots seems like a natural. But the difference is, if I'm Vrabel, I want to go to New England where I know the owner, where I got a quarterback in place in Drake May. I got $130 million in cap dollars, and the fans are going to love me. And the AFC East, with the Jets and Miami not being anything special, the Bills are. But are the Bills going to win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. Give me that over competing in the AFC West or the NFC North, the best division in the NFL, or Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the least amount of pressure and the quickest chance for success, because Jacksonville is in the AFC South with the worst division in football. Rod Mayo was not ready to be head coach. He was handpicked by the owner, Robert Kraft. People always said he's going to be head coach at some point. They just didn't know it was going to happen so fast. And that certainly didn't work out. And Pierce, they hired him because he did well when he was the interim coach, but it was clear, like Rod Mayo, he was just overmatched.
Do you think Jerry actually knows what he's going to do, but he's going to let this linger as long as he can because he loves being the lead story on SportsCenter every morning, afternoon, or night?
Yeah, maybe Jerry will give it up, become an actor. I'm guessing everybody's seen that on Landman, in which he was outstanding doing that. And I don't think in his scene he was ever in the room with Billy Bob Thornton and John Hamm, because it never showed them together. I'm guessing he probably recorded in his office, which would make it even more impressive. And I think what's strange is McCarthy, the Bears are interested in McCarthy. He had a great record in the NFC North, but he had Aaron Rodgers. And so Caleb Williams turned out to have a pretty darn good rookie season. And so that is an attractive job other than the competition. And wouldn't it be interesting if Jerry said, okay, we're interested now to talk about an extension, Mike, and Mike said, well, Jerry, thank you, but I don't want to work for an owner who's an actor. I don't want to work for an owner who's general manager. I'm going to Chicago.
John, to me, I think the Cowboys could get themselves out of the situation where I think McCarthy's stuck. Like, they know what the ceiling is. They know what the floor is. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, like I know that, the Bears and their history, at least recently, isn't as good as the Cowboys, but, what's as good? If you're both not winning Super Bowls, what does it matter at the end of the day?
Well, I think he would think they had a better chance there. Maybe they pay more money there. Maybe he likes the talent better there. I don't know. All I know is he's got a $60 million albatross at quarterback. He's got cap issues. He could have had a running back. I'd love to know if McCarthy said, let's try to get Derrick Henry. No, the GM says, we got Rico Dowdle. He's going to be great. You never know what happened behind the scenes. And they still need a running back. If they delude themselves into thinking Dowdle is the man, they're making a huge mistake. And they've got a lot of needs, as you guys know. But the problem is you're always going to have Jerry running the show. And the McCaskey family doesn't interfere in Chicago. 150-year-old Virginia McCaskey doesn't want to make personnel decisions. So you know what your limitations are with the Cowboys. And I think that if they cut loose with McCarthy tomorrow, he'd have a chance to get another head coaching job. But, the way Jerry operates, waiting to the last minute on free agents, paying a lot more than he would have paid if he'd have done it when everybody told him to, but that's just their MO. And I've never liked the way they do quarterbacks coaches let their contracts expire and trying to give them a lot of incentives. That's not the way of the NFL world right now. So I'm guessing he'll keep McCarthy. If he sure sounds like he wants to keep him. And I don't know any fans, at least Cowboy fans I know, that'll be happy with Mike McCarthy coming back.
John, what do you think of Commanders and Buccaneers?
I think Baker Mayfield's had the best season of his career, and Liam Cohen, his first-year coordinator. This will be the second year in a row a coordinator has gone to Tampa, done a really good job, and got the head coaching job because of Mayfield. And they've won that division 4 years in a row. Do you take a veteran quarterback at home, like last year when they beat Philadelphia? But Philadelphia was on a swoon after a 10-1 start, where the Commanders have turned it around. But I'm still going with the Buccaneers in that game, just because Mayfield's played the best season of his career.
John, the openings in the head coaching, would I be fair in saying that outside of New England being open, that Jacksonville or Las Vegas, Tennessee, etc., are all ownership groups that you would not say are at the tippy top?
Well, let's see. The only reason you want to go to New England is because even though Robert Kraft fired Gerard Mayo and had a falling out with Belichick, he's proven to be a good owner over time with all his trophies. And having the cap money and the quarterback in place, it's very attractive. The problem in Jacksonville, Shad Khan, the owner, lives in Chicago. He doesn't get involved in the day-to-day stuff. And the Raiders, besides the division, they don't have a quarterback. And the Titans have the first pick. They don't have a quarterback. The way they've done their situation, that Chad Brinker, the head of, is the boss of personnel, and he's going to hire a GM that has no authority. What GM wants to go there with no authority? You're really looking for a personnel director, so he'll probably hire some friend of his he worked with in Green Bay, and that's fine. Just don't call him a general manager. General managers, usually have final say on everything. So they're kind of a dumpster fire at Tennessee. And the Bears, it's been so long since the Bears have had any degree of success. Matt Nagy had a winning record when he was at the Bears. Now he's getting interviews because he went back with Andy Reid. I can't keep up with all the crisscrossing of coaches. They're all doing Zoom interviews right now. Can't do in person yet. But man, oh man, there's so many names out there. And the only ones I'm sure are probably going to get a job, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, offensive and defensive coordinators in Detroit, and then Mike Vrabel, who everybody wants.
The Texans you mentioned could be a dark horse. They smothered the Titans wearing the Love You Blue, by the way. That was interesting. They lost to two really good teams near the end, the Chiefs and Ravens. Ravens beat the hell out of them. What is it about them that if they do it right, and of course everybody can play a really perfect game, but they have to win more than one or two games. If they do what, they will then be a team that could play in the AFC Championship because there's some really good teams involved.
Well, there's nothing they're going to do to get the AFC Championship game.
Okay.
I think they're going to lose to the Chargers, but if they did beat them, upset them like they did Cleveland, then they're going on the road to Buffalo or Kansas City, and they're going to lose. Every time they've been in the playoffs, this is 8 times now, they've always been in that early Saturday time slot. It's reserved for the Texans. It's the game with the least number of viewers. It's the one almost like, let's get it out of the way. And they know that. They know they've been insulted, but do something about it. Don't win the first game and lose on the road as they have. Let's see, they've lost. They're 5-2 in the playoffs. They lost at home to the Colts in 18. They lost at home to the Chiefs in 15. And they won all their other games, but they've never been in a championship game. Houston hasn't had a team in the AFC Championship game since the Oilers after the 1979 season. I don't even know if they know what it is. And so they're in a position where their offense has not been good all year. It's out of sync. Their offensive line, particularly their interior offensive line, has been terrible. And I don't think all of a sudden they're going to fix it. So I expect them to lose to the Chargers by anywhere from 3-7. They've only had 2 losses this year that were more than one score. That would be the Baltimore game and earlier in the season when they lost at Minnesota. But I would say they could win the first game, and the only way they'd win on the road is if the opponent got mass food poisoning and the team couldn't show up and had to forfeit.
Oh, what was the reaction to the Titans and those uniforms that they like to unveil or wear when they're playing Houston?
Well, the players don't care, but the fans do. And this is 2 years in a row the Titans have done that. And it's not just the Columbia blue they wear. They have Oiler logos, midfield, end zones are painted Oilers, everything. And it was cute last year, but the fans are mad at the Titans about everything. And when the Texans are playing against Columbia blue, they see red, and they've won both those games. So I think, I wrote a column about this on HoustonTexans.com, that they better rethink that decision. Wear those colors against somebody else next year rather than risk going 0-3. On the other hand, it could have been sheer genius because they needed to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to lose, get the first pick, because had they beaten the Texans, they might have dropped down all the way to the ninth spot.
John, I tweeted this at you, and I know that you don't have replies on this week.
Smartest man in America.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I did tweet this at you because I think you're the only one who can broker this trade between the Titans and the Texans. The Texans' name is very boring. The only one that's more boring is the Commanders, and that was done out of spite. I would like the Oilers to be back in Houston, and I would like the Titans to give that up. They can keep the records and all that if they send the name, and then we in Texas will send them our third to fifth best brisket recipe. Do you think this is something that we can maybe pull off?
Well, you would feel that way, Paul, because you're not a Texan.
Yeah.
I think even the Cowboys are Texans. Bob McNair told me before he got a team that if he got one, he was going to name Texans because he felt like he's a Texan even though he's from South Carolina. And Bud Adams had it put in writing when he moved the team with the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue. Nobody would ever have the nickname Oilers again, and nobody would have the Oilers colors again. So he got that in writing so it'll never happen. And people here, they don't want it. They don't want to be the Oilers. They're the Texans. The Oilers are the Titans. It's awkward, but that's the way it is. They love for the Titans to keep wearing those uniforms so they keep beating them.
By the way, at that game last week, the Texas Bowl at NRG, the Houston Texans media relations did a great job. But my God, those areas where we are sitting are very, very tight. That area where the media has their seats. I was stunned at how close those were together.
You were in the press box, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It wasn't like it was packed with, tons and tons of media. It was covered. But I just thought that the spaces were very, very – it made me feel like I'd gained about 25 pounds.
Well, you should have moved. You should have moved.
Yeah.
Pull a chair out. I've never felt that in that press box. What I don't like about the press box is so damn high. And that's why I sit on the second row with a TV over me so I can watch the film and look up and actually see the play. I hope the food was good. They're known in the NFL.
It was
having
really
a great
good.
spread.
I'm telling you what. I don't know. What was what were those? Is it like steak?
Beef ribs and stuff?
Beef ribs were phenomenal. Of course, Kinder's had seasoning everywhere. What they had around the middle of the table with all the sweets and stuff like that. Good Lord.
My seat's right by that. When I walk by, I gained 10 pounds. It's incredible what they do. I was in a suite with a bunch of my Baylor friends, and we had things like boiled shrimp, and we had a blast except for the outcome, which still makes me sick.
Yeah, there was a couple of too many 3 to 4 huge plays that went against them and a couple of mistakes that were not acceptable. Thanks for your time, John. We appreciate it, sir.
Second Bears, thank you.
John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, covers the NFL, but covers much more than that, and a very proud Baylor alum.